Pull up a chair. This is Fluxtaposed episode 228, recorded on September 11th, 2018. On the docket today, IRL, The Great Flood, and a random discussion. Get caught up on what you plan, featuring X-Cop and Castle Rock. Finally, we'll close out the show with that convenient grab bag and that sweet, awkward finish. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the show. Yes, Fluxtaposed is back for another week, another episode. I hope it finds you well. I am doing just fine. Again, I hope you are too. This is Jason coming with me on this journey across the internets. It's Mr. Lucas. Mr. Lucas.
Hello. How are you? How are you?
I'm excellent.
Hi.
I'm quite excellent.
I'm
Hi.
good too. I always
How are
feel
you?
like I can't live up to these expectations you place on me, Dad.
You know, I will do that from time to time, but I expect you to find a way to rise above and do it. Oh gosh, we're both wearing green. I just
Oh my
realized
God,
that.
it's
Hold on,
green.
let me go get my flat cap. Let me go get my flat cap.
Oi, mate. Sounds good. I don't know why that had to happen, but it did.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for streaming. Thank you for listening on your iPhone, maybe your Android. Maybe you don't have an iPhone or an Android.
Your
maybe
MacBook.
Yeah, maybe you got a Mac.
MacBook Pro. MacBook Pro, bro.
I was gonna do that if you didn't. Thank you. Thank you for any way you want to listen to the show. Thank you.
Any way you want, that's the way you consume it. Aren't you glad I didn't miss this episode?
Actually, I am, because it makes it a lot less work for me. Yes, I am glad. I am glad you're here. Well, hey, let's just jump in with that. I don't need to talk to you about Patreon. We've done that plenty of times. Lucas, this is the episode that almost wasn't.
It's true.
For people that are in the Discord, fluxtaposed.com/Discord, they already know what's happened. But I think a lot of the mass audience does not know what happened to you this weekend.
I'm not even sure that I know what happened, but I'm going to tell you anyways. So we had left. We went to a family get-together, family gathering out in the old Saranax, which is a dandy place to be. And we were gone for about 4.5 hours. And then on the way home, I had planned on getting groceries. Now, this is important only because it adds time to the amount of time that we were gone.
Right.
I was like, you know what? Or Danette was like, you know what? If you want to just go get groceries, because Isaac was napping. She was like, if you just want to pop in the old shop real quick and snag some groceries. I was like, yeah, might as well. So we don't go home. I get groceries. Takes about another hour and 15 minutes. Ooh. And so we get home. I get the groceries inside. Isaac's awake. He needs to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, I get all the groceries inside, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta let Cody in, or Cody out. I mean,
yeah, because he's in his crate in the basement, right?
In the basement, yeah. It's the only place he can be trusted. He broke the circle of trust, and now he is in the kennel of shame forever.
Right.
Which is in the basement. And so I go downstairs. My foot hits the last step. Hits the last. I'm on the last step. My foot hits the floor, I should say. And splash.
Hey, you're like, hey, this shouldn't be here.
Why? Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? Why is there water on the floor?
You got
Hey, boo boo.
Why is there?
Why is there water all over this floor? And so immediately my heart sinks. You know, and so I open the door. And of course, I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? So
Didn't even fight yet. Sorry.
There's piss everywhere. So I open the office door. Guess what? There's water in there too. The funny thing about water is that it gets everywhere.
And there's not a drop to drink.
Nope. I open the door on the other side of the office, which is where the unfinished part is, and where the dog resides on our journeys. And water is also present on the floor here. And I look over because I hear the sound of a waterfall and a deluge, if you will. And there's a little rubber hose sticking out of this toilet. Now, the thing you need to know about the toilet that's down here,
it's scary and random.
It's scary. It's random. It was installed by the previous owners, I believe, because the office is actually, they built this in the basement for a bedroom, for somebody who lived down here. Apparently, the neighbor apparently called her Jabba, and that's all I'll say about that. Because she would walk to the corner store and get snacks, and so I'm assuming that she wanted a toilet down here. I don't know. But this little hose was sticking.
I mean, I guess it just makes sense because that you only have one other bathroom on the second floor. So if you're down in the basement, that's a long way. That is a pain in the butt to have to travel.
It is. So this nasty toilet has existed down here for me to pee in, basically. And what happened was, the reason why this became an issue is because many, many moons ago, the top of the toilet, while I was fixing it a previous time, had fallen off and broken. And so that top of the toilet no longer exists anymore. Because normally, if this fell off, it would still shoot into the bowl.
Yeah.
But instead, me being a responsible house owner was like, meh, it's downstairs. It doesn't need a top.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. And so this little hose, over the course of 6 hours, filled our entire basement with clean water, at the very least. Not sewage.
Thankfully.
Thank God. Yes, we'd probably have had to burn the house down if that happened. I got Cody out of there, who was probably like, what is going on? Why is there water everywhere? So I'm sure he was glad to be out of there. Thankfully, in his kennel, it's kind of like the floor is raised up in the middle a little bit in case they pee in there or something, I'm guessing, so that it doesn't.
Yeah.
So he was probably an inch off the ground anyways. And when I first saw it, of course, I overreacted immediately and assumed it was like 6 inches of water. No, 3 feet of water. Everything's ruined because my computer's on the floor. I'm sure at some point in the podcast in the last few weeks, I had said that I moved it down to the floor so that it wouldn't be as loud.
Yeah. There might have been a message like, "There's like 6 feet of water in my basement. Yep. My life is shit right now."
If I wanted 6 feet of anything, I think I'd want 6 feet of bubble gum. You know what I mean? With bubble tape. You remember bubble tape?
I do remember the 6 feet of bubble gum.
It's 6 feet of bubble gum. But no, I got 6 feet of water anyways. Sounds like I'm blowing my mic out. Am I blowing my mic out? Sounds like it every once in a while.
It doesn't sound like it.
Okay, maybe it's just on this end. Anyways, long story short, we spent about 3 hours basically getting all this water out of there. We called up my brother-in-law and my father-in-law, and they have the wet dry vacs that we needed, and I pretty much sat in one spot and sucked up water while they picked stuff up out of the basement and moved it out, because we had cardboard boxes. I had some laundry on the floor that soaked up some water, all sorts of shit. Just terrible. And of course the drain that was inside the like in the basement, because usually you have a drain for your washing machine and stuff like that. That had kind of a slope up before it sloped down, so it was pretty much useless at getting any of this water out of
So
here.
it's gonna limit the maximum amount of water
Yeah.
to a point, but not helpful in this specific.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a foot of
situation.
it wouldn't have been a foot of water, but it didn't really help. Yeah, here. Thank God my computer was just it has little rubber feet on the bottom of the case, and it was up just above the water. Because the power supply nowadays is typically mounted on the bottom of the case.
Yeah, that's what at first I was thinking too. It's like, well, if his motherboard didn't get wet, and as long as, because it used to be, I feel like power supplies used to be on the top, but now they're so huge and heavy. They're now they're on the bottom.
Well, and a lot of cases have a basement now, basically, where you just shove everything and then you put the side window on, and you'll never see what's underneath that floor.
Mine sits on. I have mine on the floor as well, but I have mine sitting on a little, probably a 1x. Well, it's like a 1x6 board.
Mm-hmm.
So at least it's got that
extra
plus
clearance.
The feet. So it's got
Nice. I need to get me one of those 1x6s or whatever. Wow. Yeah. So that was a fun 3 hours of my life on Sunday.
Well, you needed that floor cleaned anyway, right? So.
Oh yeah, it smells great now. Let me tell you. So far, the only casualties that I found were an HDMI cable, the one that was plugged into my. Because a lot of these cables, like when I got here, I unplugged everything from my computer immediately. The problem is there's enough water on the floor that as soon as they drop down, they're going into the water. It couldn't be helped really, unless I had like another person here. So. I'm assuming that hit the water and probably shorted or so. I don't know. It doesn't work now. Now, the other thing is I had my Oculus Rift stored away, but apparently the cables were down in the water. Now, I tested this earlier today because I was curious to see if it was going to work or not. And it worked for a little while. And then all of a sudden it stopped, like no HDMI signal. It tells you if it, like which USB or HDMI, if there's a signal there. And so thankfully they were smart enough to make the cable removable, detachable from the actual unit. So worst comes to worst, I just need to buy a replacement one of those. But who knows? Maybe if I clean it with some alcohol and a Q-tip, maybe it's just a little bit weird.
People are dying to know, what about the Wii Fit balance board that we saw in the pictures? Is it going to survive, or is it just now in the trash already?
Well, it's right here. Let's see if it turns on. Now, I don't know if the batteries in here are any good, so. Well, if this electrocutes me,
that'd be kind of cool.
I can't think of a better way to die than turning on a Wii Fit board.
Oh! Boom!
That's a blinking power light right there. It says, "Hey, I can't find a Wii." Wii Fit board confirmed indestructible.
You open that, water just goes pouring. The battery panel.
Those are Kirkland specials. No, I think they're actually
Kirkland Light. Don't drink water. Fish piss in it.
It still works. Confirmed. Damn, that thing's heavier than a something that is heavy. So Wii Fit board still going strong.
Man. So it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. I mean, like I said, 3 hours of cleaning up and having people go through your stuff is always fun, because it's like, I'll admit the basement over there on that side was just awful. Just stuff piled on top of other stuff because we just had too much stuff, and cardboard boxes are just breaking down and things falling out of them. And you get to a certain point where you're just like, nobody ever sees that over there anyway. So as long as it's mostly taken care of, you just don't really think about it. But then somebody has to come into your house and help you clean it out, and you're just like, I'm sorry, I live like a fucking slob. I'm such a piece of shit. So
that would have been my first thought too.
I know. Plus, I had to hide all my sex dolls before they came over. What?
Good thing you got that Pepsi Cola there to drown your
That's
sorrows.
a fine Pepsi RC Cola. Cooler. It's a Diet Cherry Pepsi Vintage 2018.
Ooh, it's a good year here.
I'm getting a lot of the cola, but I can't quite pull any of the cherry.
So yeah, we had a different type of show planned for tonight, but with
A
Lucas
good one.
potentially not being able to go be on the show, we had to audible sidestep, and I had Donnie from PSVG scheduled to appear on the show, but he has pneumonia, so
He's been sick since we played Overcooked, and that was like 5 years ago.
yeah, basically. So he would not have been good to go. So this all worked out well. It's thankfully could have been a lot worse, because if your computer was fried, I mean,
Oh my god, I probably would have just had to give up, because that would have been the second time liquid related computer death.
And I think if that was the point too, I like, if you were like down and out permanently, I think I would have been like, well, we gave it a good run, because I mean, yeah, I'm capable of continuing the show without you, but that isn't this show anymore. You know, like this Fluxtaposed isn't Fluxtaposed without the both of us. So I don't think it would be
I would
right
just come
to
over to
continue
your
it.
house and do it that way.
We could. I mean, we got the mixer. I mean, there's no.
Don't make me leave my house, please.
So I'm glad, obviously, that isn't the case. I much rather would quit on our own terms than being forced out due to natural disaster.
Speaking of which, we quit.
Speaking of which, we're cashing out Patreon. We're done. See ya.
Bye.
No. As for myself, again, those of you on Discord already know, got the update. We got the test results back from Asher. Everything is fine there. He looks like what the mass on his eye actually was like a buildup of white blood cells. So apparently what it must have happened at some point, there was a trauma to the area. So he must have ran into something, hit his eye, and then eventually that got infected. So the body was fighting that off, and it did damage or infected, because dogs have a bunch of ducts there around their eyes. So something had happened there, and then it caused that massive buildup. So it's good we got it removed. Sucks how much it costs. Having the cone is a nightmare. It is such a pain in the butt.
How much longer?
With the cone. Tomorrow he gets the stitches out.
Ooh, he doesn't
so
even
it's
know.
Done tomorrow, and he's like miserable. You have to take him out on a leash every time to go to the bathroom. Aiden just likes to terrorize him. And I don't even have to deal with it that much. Jess is the one here with him all day. So
gosh, yes. I can't even imagine.
So we're very eager for that to take place. And then funny story, as you know, we like to frequent the supermarket chain known as Aldi.
Yes.
Well, Jessica's wanted an Instapot for a while. And
yes, so I have one. Those are wonderful.
We got one. They had them on. Aldi has one for $29.99.
Oh,
so
scary.
If my house ever explodes, this might be why. But no, she's made chicken and stuff in it a couple times. I mean, and then I looked up reviews, and it says, I mean, don't expect it to last for years and years, but for a couple, you're good to go. And I was like, well, for $30, why not?
It's your entry level in Instapot, which is good, because then you don't feel too like. Honestly, we used ours a lot at the beginning, and then it kind of ramped down, because you're like, "This is amazing! Look at all the stuff I can make in here." Yeah. I could just throw whatever's in a refrigerator. I mean, and make something delicious.
She can cook like 4 chicken breasts in 15 minutes in there.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
Which I know you could do that with grilling too, but I mean, this is a lot easier.
Yes, that's the big part. Is that it's fast. But it's also, you don't have to like pay. It's like a slow cooker, but quick. It's a quick cooker.
Yep.
And that's what's nice about it.
Pressure.
Plus, the pressure is what makes everything so
under pressure.
Tasty.
Pushing down on me.
Pushing down on your food. It's so delish.
Yeah. So as we go through that process, I'll make sure to update you on how it goes. I've got a good feeling about this, Johnny.
What you need to make this macaroni and cheese in your
Oh
instant pot.
God, sign me
It's
up
so
right now.
good. It's
Don't
like
stop talking. I don't.
Stouffer's, but better.
Oh, I'm in love.
I'll send you.
Uh,
I'll send you the recipe.
okay, Lucas, we need to
Talk.
get our Netflixation
Oh.
out there for the
Oh
people.
shit! Should I pick something?
Yeah, you're gonna have to pick something right now on the air because we want to get the vote in,
I
get
don't
it
want
done,
to.
give people time to watch said selection, because that's been the problem lately. Is that
They won't
we're not
watch it.
well, they won't, but I mean,
Oh god.
we have it. That's
See,
always an
I
option.
love that you're like, well, they won't, but
I
then
mean,
they can't
Kevin
blame
never
us
does, and I
anymore.
think I think he's an adequate sample size for our entire audience. So, wow,
Oh my god.
I remember my Netflix queue was like 15. Now it's like 8,000. I don't even know how to even
I
navigate
want to
such a
pick Hardcore
vast.
Henry so that you can puke
Uh,
from
that's gonna win. I just
because
hope you
they
know
not
that's
because
gonna
anyone
win.
wants to watch it. It's because they want you to suffer.
No, I just think they're gonna want. I think that'll get the vote.
You pick Peter Rabbit and I'll pick. Gosh, damn you, autoplay. Can we?
No, all
Okay,
right.
let's make a truce right now. We're not picking a Netflix original.
Okay.
I am
Okay.
burned out on Netflix original movies.
That's fair. I've got
Hmm.
mine already determined. So,
Okay, what is yours?
I want to watch Hostiles, the 2017 Western
Oh.
starring Christian Bale.
I do like me a good Christian Bale movie, but it's got to be good.
After a long career battling the Cheyenne, a U.S. Army captain is ordered to safely escort the tribe's most influential chief to his Montana homeland.
My God, sounds like
Mhm.
a real.
This movie is violent. This movie is
Oh,
gritty, and this
ooh.
movie is understated.
Okay.
I do love some understatements in my films.
I need you to state it clearly. Ah, gosh, damn this autoplay business. Um, you're lucky. I seriously, whatever I put my mouse on, go away. All right. I don't know if anyone else can hear that, but I'm guessing they can. I'm gonna go in a completely different direction, and I'm gonna make you hate me. But nobody's gonna pick
Oh,
this anyways, so it's
oh,
okay. I'm going to. My selection will be. It's called Mary and the Witch's Flower. And no, that isn't a euphemism. um,
Mary and the Witch's
it's an anime.
Flower.
It's an anime, but it's more along the lines of like a Studio
Oh,
Ghibli type anime, not space pirate Harlock or
hey, I'd
whatever.
like Space Pirate Captain
I
Harlock.
thought it was okay. It's just I'm just letting you know that it's not.
Wow, this totally does look like it's trying to be like Studio Ghibli. Endor College. Are there Ewoks there?
I hope so. Um, but I remember seeing a preview for this, and I thought it looked. I thought it was a Studio Ghibli movie, and which, if anybody doesn't know, that's like Princess Mononoke and
Yeah.
that type of thing.
You
So
know, I need Netflix to have better curation of their animated stuff because right now the only way to view a lot of the animated things is just go by the kids category. But they really need now, I think, because they have so much of it, they need to have an adult animated section because there's they have a lot of that.
yeah, I think
I
you have to
feel
go
now.
into like animated and then adult animated, and then you'll get there.
Oh
But you have to go
God,
through your genre. Plus, that also means you get all the mature anime as well as
yeah.
which take it for what it is. No, I'm surprised you didn't pick Doom. I thought for sure you were going to pick Doom.
Oh wow, Red versus Blue is on. I forgot that.
All right, so there you go. Before
Okay, so that we
we're
yeah,
just
sorry. We will. Oh, good
uh,
point. Tom Servo's a good point. I need to go on Google and search adult animated. That'll get me all the results I need.
yeah.
Why, Tom? Why are there tentacles there? I don't understand why there are tentacles. So there you go. Those are our two options for you. As always, we'll put a vote out on the Netflix for the Netflix on the Twitters, and we'll make you do it. So that is going to be Hostiles and Mary and the Witch's Flower. So look for that. Lucas, I thought it
What?
would be fun.
Uh-oh.
Well, I don't know if I thought it would be fun or not, but since we had our multi-genre presentations on OC Remix lore originally scheduled for today. I thought it'd be fun just to have some killer filler, so to speak.
Time to wing it.
Yep. Yep. Time to weekend. I'm gonna go. No, what was the last time that happened? How did I have to? Oh, it was like one of the worst episodes in the past recent history.
Which
Hated
I
it so
can't
much.
remember what we talked about though. FOMO?
Yeah,
No, FOMO we prepared
we
for.
did FOMO. We prepared, but it was like I'm like, we're just gonna free load it, free go it.
Free
I don't
ball
know,
it.
and it was bad.
So let's do it
Yeah.
again. Well, you
Why?
prepared. You knew. You said you were going to surprise me. That was the thing. You said you were surprising me, so it was purposeful this time.
Yeah. Right. No, it's true, Lucas. I want each of us to discuss, not so much discuss, but at least come forward, share a story.
Oh
Because
Lord.
see, unlike other podcasts, we have some freedom here. We're not beholden. We're not trapped in the video game category. We're not trapped in OC Remix category. We can talk. We can branch into
We
various
talk
subjects.
about whatever we want.
We can go in different directions. And for a while there, I almost thought, what the day it was, I was like, maybe it would be good to talk about, what took place on this day many years ago. But I don't. I think it's good to remember, but I don't like to dig through that time so much, because I still feel it's very important to, yes, never forget and always remember and pay your respects, but also to keep moving forward as well, I guess. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that was a little too heavy for my liking. So instead, I
Okay.
wanted to,
In my mind, I'm like, please don't tell me we're talking about 9/11.
no.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about a moment that you consider to be one of your greatest failures
Oh my God.
in your life. And I am stealing this from PSVG's OT. For those unfamiliar, Coach Hulk and Devin have a podcast on part of the PSVG network called the OT. Very much a conversational podcast, and they always have, good roundtable conversation, but they always have like one talking point they come up with, and it's usually this was one of the conversations from many episodes ago, and it'll be, moment when you're afraid, moment when you're, different emotions, different things you're going through, and they share those stories from their lives. So I
Okay.
thought this would be an interesting one. Um, I don't know so much of your greatest failure, but at least I think it should be
I'm
of
just,
some significance. And if you need, because obviously I've had time to prepare and think about
yeah.
this, I can share mine first while you are.
I have to think of a
Um,
time that I tried to be even able to fail.
God.
So yes,
Well,
please go first.
I mean, I think I could have had a couple, but I think for me, always, which still feels like the most significant, where I just remember feeling like at my one of my I don't know if it was my utmost bottom, but definitely one of the most bottomed out experience in my life was my freshman would have been my freshman year at college. So I went to, Lucas and I went to the same high school, and the community college for our area is literally 5 minutes from the high school. For me, it was like still going to high school because I live 5 minutes. I live right near this 5 minutes from the school, 5 minutes from the college. I was like right there. So I didn't. I stayed home and went to the community college for 2 years before I transferred. And I don't know. I thinking back on it, it's almost like I wonder if I would have been better at having a gap year. Taking a year off,
Mm-hmm.
working, and then coming back in, because I think I needed it, because my second year of college was obviously a lot better than my first, but I had that mindset. It was like everything still felt like high school, so I just kind of went through the motions. I was dating, was dating someone new at the time, so that was all fresh and exciting, distracting me from school. I would much rather play video games, so that was distracting me from school. I'm pretty sure I was heavily into enemy territory at that time, so that's distracting me from school. And I would skip class way too often. I would go show up to class, kind of half-ass it. Not to think, school. Not that school always came easy to me, but I mean, I did marginally well in high school. Not that that really matters, but I was like I had like a 3.8 GPA. Had
You
honors. I
were
was
good
at
at
National Honor
half-assing.
Society. Yeah, yeah.
I
I
was
mean, I was
bad
good
at
enough.
that.
I was good enough at doing what I needed to get by. I always, and then finally, college, you kind of get hit with, you have to prepare a little more. You got to study, you got to work a little harder,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I could have been easily been successful, but I was just too busy not carrying and fluffing off. And next thing I know, we get, I think it was the end of the semester. I think, did I drop? I don't remember if I dropped classes or not, but I'm pretty sure I stopped showing up to some. And next thing you know, I get get our scores on that first semester. I'm on academic probation, and I think I had like a 1 point. I had it under a 2 GPA. I like tanked all my classes. I tanked all my scores. I'm on academic probation. If I don't bring my grades up, I'm not gonna be accepted,
Wow.
back, into
Yeah.
community college. And I just remember having to like tell my mom because my parents were divorced. I live with my mom. Um, I was lucky enough to I did have some scholarships. Not that I ever applied for any in school, but I had some from like the standardized testing program we take here in Michigan called the MEAP, Michigan Educational Assessment Program. I think that's what it stands for.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on your scores on that, you get, I think it was like 2,500. It's not a crazy amount, but at least it's enough to help cover books and some of your tuition. But I had grandparents and my mom. I had people that, luckily enough for my family, had put away, save money for me to use for my education. Um, and here I took all that money and I had thrown it all away. So having to tell my family, tell my parents like I'm on academic probation. Look, here's my transcript of my score, and I just remember that that just gut wrenching, that feeling, and I just remember like breaking down. I was like bawling. I'm like, because I haven't ever failed this terribly,
Yeah.
academically. That was a different thing, and I felt so bad because I'm like letting my family down. I let myself down. I knew I was much capable, much like even still now. I know I'm capable so much of more, but it's just like you got to apply yourself to really get to that point.
Yeah.
And I just remember just feeling awful for like I don't even remember how long. I mean, moral of the story, I took that. It could have gone two ways. I could have just been quit, or then go the opposite direction. So it's like, okay, I need to get my act together. Let's change things around. And I think after that, I think next thing I was on the dean's list the next semester for stuff. So I mean, that's the important thing is you take that failure and you're able to use that and motivate and just turn it into something positive. But I just, man, that was uh just a horrible, horrible feeling. I remember I had to take um to make up for it. I think I had to, had to take summer classes that semester.
Yeah.
I either took summer classes to make up for, or because I just wanted to get as many credits in as quickly as possible. Because at that time, I think at that time I was still undecided as a major. I think I was going an associate's in like liberal arts. I think that's what it just because anything that's something that basic that would transfer to pretty much any other
Yeah.
university. And then it was during my first semester of my second year. Oh no, I take that back. My plan always was I was going to go for 2 years, get that degree, and then I was going to transfer to Full Sail in Orlando. I was going to go down to Orlando, Florida, because
uh,
they had their game design program
yeah. I was
down there, and
looking
I
at
was going.
their film program and their game design
What
program.
was that place? What was that back in the day in our land parties? We always talk about too. There was that college in Canada that did game design, and I can't remember DigiPen or
Yeah, I think
something.
it was DigiPen.
Something like that.
I'll look
And
that
then
up.
during my second semester, it was during my Visual Basic.
Yes,
Oh no,
DigiPen.
it wasn't even Visual Basic. It was my plain old basic programming class, and then like we discovered that right here in Grand Rapids they had opened their own. Or started their own game design and 3D animation program. So that's how I ended up in Grand Rapids. That's how everything started on this journey I am now. But yeah, it's just easily, I mean, just one of the things I was completely responsible for my own lack of effort, everything I didn't put into it, and I could have easily, let's see, I had chemistry. I had, trying to think of what other courses I had. I can't remember that first semester is really, really fuzzy. Boy, I think I had I think I had a math class too. I can't remember. See, I can't even remember all the classes I took, but it doesn't matter because I didn't show up to them. That's probably why I don't remember. I wasn't going to them.
I don't blame you. I'm bad at school, so I somewhat related to that. because that kind of reminded me. Not that I this isn't mine, but I can echo those sentiments to a certain degree because when I went to GRCC, I got to a point where I remember I took a 3D modeling class as well, and I started to get behind because you don't realize how much time you
Were
have
you
to
guys
do.
still using 3D Studio Max?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I still have the book. So yeah, I still have the book down there. 3DS Studio Max 2011 Bible.
is that even used anymore?
I think they've used Maya these
I
days.
always felt like Maya was the more popular option.
Yeah. Uh, so it was really interesting to me and I liked it a lot until I realized how much time I needed to spend outside of the class doing stuff. And
Yeah, I just don't.
I mean, I probably did have the time, but being me, I was probably too busy
Yeah,
playing video games instead of trying to
yeah.
build them, etc. And so I had to ask. It got to a point where I talked to the professor. I was like, "Can I talk to you out in the hall for a second?" I was like, "Should I even be here? Because I feel like I'm doing so bad that I can't even pass." And it was really a horrible. Because I typically I would ignore it and just oh I
Hmm.
failed or whatever. But instead I was like, you know what? I should probably just ask him if I should even be here because I didn't
Was
feel like I had a chance of.
who was your instructor?
Oh,
Was
I
that Marty Lear? Do you remember?
yeah, I think that was
Yeah,
actually. I was gonna say I wouldn't remember,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
now that
because
you say his
he's
name,
like started he's like who started the program, and I randomly it's kind of funny at my not at my job, my first logistics job, I randomly saw him in the building that I worked at, and I didn't talk to him, but part of me kind of wishes I did. But yeah, I had one of the same conversations with him too because I was doing terribly and in that too. I think the same reason you said is they expected so much out of you, in addition to your classwork, you know, and working on your homework and just practicing the concepts and everything.
mm-hmm.
It's just, it's not, I don't think it's really for how education in this country is and like how to actually be a student. Like, I don't know how unless you want to go into ridiculous amounts of debt, you have to work. And almost you always have to work anyway because you got to have food and you got to have a place to live. So
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. It was the same thing. Like, was I still doing I can't remember if I was still doing when we lived together. I can't remember if I was still doing that or not. I must have been because I was still,
you were doing a little bit of it because I remember a Quake level or something that you were building.
but gosh, I mean, that's like the worst feeling when you're like feeling completely over your head. Like I remember when I stepped into that Photoshop when I had that 3D lighting and textures course because I had no I knew how to use the clone tool in Photoshop. You know, that was like my extent of Photoshop. And
Yeah,
then you're using Photoshop heavily. And I've had no experience with Photoshop. It wasn't listed as a prereq at all. So it's just like I walked in and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, you know?
that's
This
one of the
is
worst feelings when you get into a class and you're just like, I don't feel like I belong here at all.
yeah.
I don't
What
know what
didn't
anybody's
help
talking about.
my foray into that program and then moving on my own too was that at that same time as when World of Warcraft came out as well. And so I know
Yeah,
that played a portion in me not doing homework because why do homework and coursework when I can just play a game instead?
yeah. Sometimes I feel like I don't know how I would do now, but I just have never been a good student. It's funny because I remember messing around with like the Half Life uh, tools that you could use to build levels and texture. I went so far as
Hmm.
to start modeling and trying to texture characters for Half Life and make my own textures and stuff in Photoshop. But to do it in a classroom setting, for some reason, if I'm not in the classroom, then I don't have a very good
Yeah,
like
it's tough.
what would you call it, work ethic, I guess.
Okay, I'd say doing you know, not that this is a huge challenge, but just doing the stuff I've done with Code Academy, I can say that I enjoy the challenge of learning something new and being pushed to learn something. I kind of wish that I had stuck with. Well, I don't even think I thought of it as a pathway back then because after I stopped doing, you know, the 3D animation game design, I jumped back to what I had work experience in. I was like, okay, network administration. I've worked in IT. I've done all this stuff. Why don't I fall back on that? And unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
that just came at the time where I was just burnt out on school. I'd been going to school for 4+ years. I've been going to school and working 2 jobs, going to school, working. It didn't matter. I was just, I think at that point I was like, okay, I need to hit reset. Why don't I go to work? I think my mom is still probably disappointed that I never like graduated with any sort of degree, but I think I'm doing well enough for myself without that. But I kind of,
Yeah.
I kind of wish that back then I would have thought maybe programming was something, because that's one thing I still wish I was much more prevalent with, and and better
Like have a better skill
had a
set
better
with.
yeah, had a better understanding, yeah, is with in programming language. So that's why I really enjoyed my SQL stuff. At some point though, I'd like to learn JSON and um I don't know,
But you're
anything else.
JSON.
Yeah, I know, right? So all right, so that's all that's my failure,
Okay.
Lucas. I mean, I'm sure you've got many to pick from, so it's just
Oh,
you got to narrow it down the one.
no,
I kid.
my way of coping with my failures is to forget that they ever happened. So it's really hard to
Oh.
dredge up the past. But oh my gosh, just a second. Yeah, because I want to answer text messages while I'm in the middle of a podcast. So,
I know you're busy podcasting right now, but I need you to do this.
My failure, I guess, is not as easy to like, it's not like school where you know you're failing because you have grades. You know what I mean? It's a lot more ambiguous, I guess, or at least the one that I'm about to talk about. There, jeez.
Jeez. Okay.
So I had just graduated GRCC, and I didn't have a job yet, and so, or no.
This is when you were done with film school?
No. I went to GRCC first. I did have a job. Sorry, I got a job as a security guard.
That's that DK.
Yeah. And I was working and going to school. I was working third shift, and then my days off, I would go to school third shift, basically, or start at 4 to 6 or 5 to 7 or whatever. And I was doing that so that I could go to Full Sail or possibly one of these, or GVSU's film program. But my high school grades were so bad that I felt like I should probably go to college and get a liberal arts degree there or something, so that they could see that I was a better
Applied
student.
yourself somehow.
Yeah, which was terrible because I didn't, and I have a ton of debt now thanks to that, which I am not using a liberal arts degree towards anything. So
you're a better, well-rounded individual.
No,
though.
I forgot everything I learned there. If I even learned anything at all. It was more like, see, that's the thing, is I always feel like school is something that I have to get through. I don't feel like I'm going there to learn anything. I feel like I'm doing it because I'm supposed to. You know what I mean? It's always felt that way since middle school. That's probably me. That's a mess up with my brain. And so I was doing that for a while, but then after I was done, I had some time where I didn't really know what I was going to do, because I was kind of thinking about going into video game stuff, but I was also kind of thinking of going into film stuff, and I didn't really do anything. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I got that done. Now what? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I'll just keep working. Next thing you know, you're working like full time, and you're not even thinking about it. But the security guard job was always horrible. It's horrible. I mean, I say it's horrible, but at the same time, I was also sitting in a car all night, like on my laptop or reading, or not really doing much of anything. It's not like I was guarding. It's
still horrible though.
It's mind numbing is the problem, because you don't really. A lot of the time, I was always working on something else. I was like doing tabletop role playing stuff that I was writing, or I was playing a game or reading a book or something. But the problem is when you're stuck inside a car and you have to be there, it gets old pretty quickly. Um,
You had a sweet uniform you got to wear
oh
though.
my gosh, that uniform was so obnoxious. They make it's like a one size fits all, even though there are sizes, but they make it so that it fits a lot of different body shapes. Let's just put it that way. So they were always kind of too big. And anyways, like I don't know, it's kind of a demeaning job to a certain degree as well because we had to go inside in the morning and make sure that the people who were coming in, it was for the shoe company Wolverine. We had to make sure they were wearing their tags and stuff. And it was kind of a new thing for the employees because they never had to actually display their tags. They always just used them to get into the building, and that was pretty much it. And then they put them back in their purse, or they'd never leave their purse. They would just hold it up against the thing, and it would let them in. And so you see these people every day, but then you're also like, come on, I need you got to wear your badge. Like, it didn't start that way. You know, we used to be able to just sit at the receptionist desk and type on the computer and fill out our log, et cetera, until it slowly turned into, okay, now you can't even be at the computer. You have to stand in front of the desk and greet every person who does not want to see you. They're tired of you asking them to show have them show you their badge because you see them every day. And so you get a lot of like kind of dirty looks from people, and you're just like a security guard, like, seriously, why are you stopping me type stuff. And I really just was not happy with what I was doing. I know this now because I think back about how much I was drinking at the time, and that was a big, and especially when you're doing third shift, like you come home and you're drinking at 8:00 in the morning, but it's not 8:00 in the morning to you. And then on my days off, you know, I would wake up and I'd already be drinking by 11, but it didn't seem weird because it's 11 in the or 11 at night, but really I'd only been awake for 5-6 hours.
Right.
And so I remember it got to a point where I don't even remember what time period this was in, but you had contacted me and you were like, because this all started, this was a little bit farther on because I might have even been in school at this point again. But I remember you being like, dude, we don't talk anymore. Like, are you okay? What's going on? Like, I don't like talk to you.
I remember this.
And so, yeah, I just remember, not specifically with that conversation. I just remember when I had finally, Danette, my wife, had found out about Compass and that I should apply there. And I was just so unhappy with what I was doing that I was just like, part of me was nervous because you're always going to be nervous because you had to be accepted into there. And I thought, well, you know, what have I done that makes me worthy of acceptance?
Little did you know, on the other side, they're like, we'll take anyone's money right
pretty
now.
much. I was surprised to find out that they did turn some people down, but I think they were too young or something to be there. But yeah, at the time it felt like I really had to be on my game or whatever. And so I guess that's the silver lining that came out of it, was that I was so unhappy that I eventually did something about it, but I went on for far too long. And it's it's only my fault, really. It's just I hate change. I don't like putting myself out there. I often looked at other jobs, but I never applied to any of them because it's scary to put yourself out there. And when you're not used to it, I've only had like 4 jobs in my entire life, really, besides like film job stuff. But, you know, so, and up to that point, that was my second job.
Right.
So I was just like, you know, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? So,
yeah.
I mean, eventually I turned it around, but it got pretty dark there for a while. And I was just like, not like I was depressed or anything to the point where I would end my life or anything, but I just sort of like you were saying, where you just kind of feel like you're doing something that you don't really want to be doing. So you just kind of coast through a bit and then only really pay attention to the things that you want to be doing. So for me, that was drinking and video games. I wasn't really a good husband at the time either. So
You
you
kind
put
of,
all that together and you're just like
yeah,
a shitty person. And it's
kind
weird.
of retreated into yourself a little bit.
Yeah, and I do that from time to time. Um, Often, I'm an introvert, so one of the best things I learned at film school was when one of our professors was talking about what it means to be an introvert, and he had said it's not that I don't want to talk to people, but that the way that I recharge my batteries is by being alone.
Hmm.
And so it has nothing to do with necessarily with not wanting to talk to people and just be a shut in. Those are, that might happen for other reasons, but it's more that, you just when you want to relax or whatever, you don't go out with your friends. You stay home and watch a movie or do the things that you like to do, work on a hobby or whatever. So it was interesting to learn about myself in film school and learn about things that helped me deal with kind of going from an like your early and mid 20s to being more of an adult, I guess, and
Yeah.
in your late 20s and early 30s. So uh
It's
yeah.
just funny how the different paths take you, to where you end up.
Yeah, well, I know this isn't like your biggest regrets thing, but I'll tell you, I still not. It was a good experience to go to film school, but as a occupation, it was a terrible choice because I do feel like.
Well, let's face it. If you would have been younger, if you weren't married, and at the point where you're going to be looking to start a family,
Mm-hmm.
where you had that freedom to go
Right.
wherever a job might take you,
Well, and I
you.
still, and I mean, I know people who are younger and they were successful, and there's younger people who still are here and
Hmm.
you know
I
are.
mean, Schneider kind of screwed the pooch a little bit when he got rid
Yes,
of those
that was.
tax. Like, Michigan had a blossoming film community, and because we had some very generous tax incentives for companies to come here and shoot, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then that was done away with.
I think
'Cause what
Alice in Wonderland through the Looking Glass or whatever the second one was, or maybe it was the first one, but one of them was shot in Michigan, and that was like the last film that
the last
came
film,
here.
because we had a big string. We had what, Batman versus Superman, Transformers,
Transformers, the Alice
um,
in
30,
Wonderland.
30 seconds or less was completely shot in our city of Grand Rapids,
Mm-hmm.
or 30 minutes or less. Where's the other one with Jesse Eisenberg behind the tour or whatever? That
Oh
was
yeah,
and with
yeah,
Jason Segel. That was
yep.
shot here in Grand Rapids
I know
too.
some
But I mean,
people who
there was
worked on that.
there's quite a lot of films that were struck here. And it's funny. I'm on the Compass page, and friend of the show, Seth Steele, is an alumni highlight.
Well, yeah, because he actually has a job. They only like people who actually ended up getting jobs. I know a lot of people who went into the school ended up doing something else. Like they don't even do film related stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's how. I mean that's the thing. I mean, I think that's the story for all focuses and occupations.
Yeah, unless
People
you
just
get
end up.
you get a focused degree like I'm going to be such and such type of doctor. I'm going to go into education and or
Hmm.
whatever. Then it just seems like you're like, well, I did that. Now time to see what opportunities arise,
Yeah.
whether or not it's in my wheelhouse or not.
Speaking of not doing what you got your education for, my brother, I just saw him this past weekend, and for those that don't know or don't remember, he went to Michigan State University, got a degree in like agricultural sciences, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's a corrections officer, and he got accused of sexual assault by a
Oh,
prisoner recently because he was going through and it shaking down. I don't think he was clearing out the shower area to make sure that no inmates were in there, and he was going through because the showers have like separate doors, so he's going through and opening all the stalls to make sure. And as he opens one, there's one guy in there and didn't have the water go or anything. So then this guy made a rape allegation against my brother.
what a joke.
uh,
But
so there you go.
yeah, there you go. That's my That's my failure as a human being, I guess.
And look how we've applied ourselves, folks. If we could go back
Now
and
we
talk to
podcast.
Jason and Lucas in high school and say, guess what, fellas? One day you're going to be on the internet and you're going to be known by about a circle of 20 people.
Yep.
Boom. Hashtag winning. And
Okay.
that's just and that's just in the Battle of the Beer videos. I'm not even talking about Fluxtaposed.
Oh, that's true. When you put them together, we're
mean,
practically internet celebrities.
That's right. That's right. So that is our greatest failures to date.
Well,
maybe we got more. Maybe we got more coming. That's some of them. Yeah, too many to mention. Let's play an overclocked remix, shall we?
Okay, I'm going to spin the wheel. Luker. Let's see.
Excuse me. What do we got? What do we got?
Sonic Mania Ruby Distortions. You wish it was that one. Callow says, "Hey, my wife saved me from alcoholism, and look at me now." Oh, wait. Yeah, see, that's the thing is, knowing.
But now it's different. You're not into alcoholism anymore. Now you just enjoy craft beer. It's a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of the amount and the intention.
It's the trendy alcoholism.
Exactly. You're right. And when you're right, you're right.
That's right. Well, Lucas sets things up on the back end. Let's learn a little bit more about Sonic Mania, which was released in 2017. According to this, on Windows, but that's not quite right because Sonic Mania came out on a lot of other platforms. Our remixer this week is Pirate Crab. This is called Ruby Distortions. It's the Ruby Illusions final boss theme in Sonic Mania. That's a game I need to go back through and finish. I'm
pretty sure I heard you on the Nintendo Shack say that you had no.
Yeah, I don't. I remember when I was playing it and I was like, this is awesome. It's like I'm in 1990s preteen Jason living like my greatest. I love that game. I love Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I love playing that, but now I'm just like, eh. You know why I turned myself off to it? I want to get the Chaos Emeralds, and to do that, you got to do those stupid stages, the 3D running behind stage where you got to collect all the little colored orbs.
See, that's the problem is when you wanna like 100% a game or something like that. I always find it gets in the way of my enjoyment.
Yeah. Exactly, because I want the.
But I have that urge.
I want to be Super Saiyan Sonic, you know.
And nobody's gonna know that you did it. You're just gonna be able to tell people.
Callow, I got good news for you. The genre of this remix is metal.
Oh my god!
That's so you won't have OC Remix calling you out on Twitter this week. Well, you might. I don't know. We'll see. Again, this is Ruby Distortions. It's from Sonic Mania. Before we play it, I do want to point out that OC Remix has a new album that dropped today called Overclocked University Sophomore Year. It's got 8 tracks coming from the likes of Chrono Trigger, Castlevania, Sonic and Knuckles, Street Fighter 2, Ragnarok Online even. And yes, Street Fighter 2 remix is Family Man. Should
be Family Guy.
Family Guy. So check that out if you want. As always, you can find this remix and many, many more at ocremix.org. We're going to play the mix, come back, do some What You Playing, and kick you off into the sweet night. So stick around.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in the fire. I didn't even pay attention to like what was left on that. Like,
Way to go.
or the running time was. Again,
Uh-huh.
we sometimes we catch the running time, sometimes we don't. So you never know
Usually
how
when
long.
we don't, it's like 7 minutes long, and we're like, all
You're
right, we
right.
gotta fade that down. It didn't have it kind of faded itself down. It didn't really have like a definitive end. You know what I mean?
No,
So.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, now that we've brought the fire, let's bring the flood back. That's what you playing, Talk.
Oh, it's very low. Why is it so low? Nobody knows. Turtle power.
Turtles. Excellent choice.
Thank you.
Oh boy, Lucas.
What?
We talked about a long time ago and how many seasons there are out there, and so after we did the show last week, I was like, I want to watch. I want to watch a movie.
You know what I could go for right now? That's what you said.
I don't want to sound like I find fires to be very romantic. That's what you sounded like. I hadn't, I always play games. I was like, I kind of just feel like watching something instead. So I did. I went upstairs, chilled out on the couch, and I watched Voltron Season 3, Episode 1.
Oh my gosh.
I started my pilgrimage back into the world of Voltron, and actually I finished the season yesterday, which helps because there's only like 7 episodes in a season, so it really doesn't.
Yes, it's not super long.
Doesn't take too long. It took me a while to like remember where things had left off because one of our characters has been cast off into the abyss. We don't know where he is. We gotta find him.
If it makes you feel any better, apparently I've watched part of up to season 5, and I don't remember most of it, so I might have to go
interesting. It's an interesting series because I can tell it's aimed at a younger audience, but I still find it enjoyable as an adult. And I don't even remember watching Voltron as a child. I just know I liked it, but I don't remember watching it whatsoever. So I don't know. It's giant robots.
I was just gonna say that. That's all you need to know.
Giant robots, and I just like how I love the intro music when it's got that high pitched synth that, and then the toms come in.
That's towards the end, isn't it? Or no,
yeah,
that's
toward the end.
I was gonna say because it kind of does that in the beginning too.
In the beginning, but then there's like that break in the middle of the theme song. And then, they make me happy. Cran's still the best character, though. I do have to say,
he was in something I was watching not too long ago. I can't remember what it was though.
I'm happy to see that they finally gave Princess Allura like something to do in season 3. Like she's not like it's very much a wasted character up until that point.
I was wondering if she was ever gonna pilot.
Yeah. And they kind of just give her like, too much of the typical female character tropes throw it to that point. So it's nice that they finally gave her something more, which that made me happy. Beyond that, okay, I do have to spend a little time here. I talked last week about how we were watching Castle Rock and we weren't really enjoying it.
Down to Castle Rock.
Yes. Throw that out into the wind because now we are on the last episode airs tomorrow, which we're waiting to watch. And man, it's a slow build. And I think finally, like definitely after like episodes 6, 7, and 8 were awesome. Or 5, 6, and 7, excuse me. Were awesome. But yeah, like those first 3 were probably the hardest ones to get through. And after that, it's like, oh my gosh, the show's awesome. Like it does a lot of cool things. And it just like Stephen King, it's very much connecting multiple, like Stephen King's works all refer to other works. He has his own universe, as they say, and everything's connected. And like I wasn't aware of it, but Castle Rock, that town itself, appears in multiple books, multiple settings. Same thing with just Maine in general. But wow, yeah, it got really good. There's a really cool thing they're doing with the characters and what's actually going on and why things are the way they are. I can't really say too much without giving away the plot, but it got innumerably levels of better. It's so much better.
I might have to give this one a try then, because like I had said when you first talked about it, I saw it was getting good reviews.
Yeah.
And then if you think it got better
Oh yeah.
after what'd you say, the first 3 episodes or so?
Yeah, I think episode 4, it has to lay a lot of groundwork first, and I think that's the problem. It has to do a lot of world
Okay.
building,
I
and then
I don't mind that when there's a payoff, like when, like you said, it gets better, and I'm assuming it's
yeah,
probably because the groundwork was laid
yeah,
down.
oh yeah,
So that's always nice.
oh yeah.
If it's just
There's a definite
slow for the sake of being slow, then I'm just like,
yeah. There's a definite
no,
payoff.
no, no, no.
And then, my wife and I have always enjoyed watching Catfish on MTV. I think that's a great show. It just the interesting stories that take these people on the journey of how they've been catfished. But I really enjoy the two hosts, Neve Schulman and oh gosh, why can't I think of Max? What's Max's last name? I can't remember.
Catfish.
He directed We Are Your Friends, and he's directed some other stuff. But Max is leaving the show, and I'm like, after that happens, I don't know if I want to watch anymore because it just won't be the same without him. So he's had to leave the show because it's too hard to do this show, produce and do the show, and then try to direct and do his filmmaking side of his career too. So I'm gonna be sad to see him go because it just won't be the same. And I'm really hoping they don't bring Neve's wife on full time to co-host because that's just not gonna be fun for anyone.
Max Joseph.
Max Joseph, yes, that is him. I think those guys are hilarious together, and it's like I'm like, I could be friends with these people. I could see myself being friends with them in real life. So
I like when that happens.
Yeah, so it'd be sad to see that go, and I'm like, maybe my catfish journey will be done at that point. And then finally, I want to touch on.
Can I just, before you move on, can I just say that I didn't even know what catfishing was? I just looked this up.
Maybe I should.
I've never seen.
I will say so. For someone that may not be aware, catfishing is the art of online personaing, where typically it happens on a date site. People, someone impersonates someone else or basically it's essentially invents a online persona, uses stolen photos from someone else's profile and pretends to be an entirely different person or just and isn't truthful about who they are. I mean, usually their feelings and everything they are toward, usually it's always dating, and usually their feelings and who they are represent to this person are truthful, but just who they are displaying as their appearance. And unfortunately, in most cases, it's because the person that is catfishing was bullied, has low self-esteem, thinks very poorly of themselves, doesn't find anyone will ever found them attractive. A lot of cases too, especially I think with men when they're the catfish, it's where like, well, when I was on this dating site, I wasn't getting any responses, and then I changed my picture to this one, and then this profile got a lot of responses, and then it's like addicting.
Yeah,
that whole
because it feeds into your ego a bit, I would imagine, and
yeah,
then you feel better about yourself. I like the idea. Human beings are so funny to me because it's like, man, nobody likes me for who I am. I guess what I could do is I could pretend to be somebody else,
and then you feel sorry. You feel sorry for people that got catfish because it's just like you're like, how naive and gullible can you be? Like one guy thought was convinced he was talking to Katy Perry, 100% convinced, and even after they met and found the person who was doing it, was still convinced that she was like in on it. And nope, he's still talking to Katy Perry. I mean,
well, see. Somebody like that just wants to be catfish then.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean,
they're drinking the Kool-Aid.
And there's some instances where you really feel sorry for the people. And there's some instances too where the person, it's who they said they were, or just for weird reasons they never would meet face to face. Wouldn't, because here's the thing that always happens. They won't video chat. Their phone's always broken. They can take pictures, put up snaps and put up Instagrams, but they can't video chat. That's always the one thing. Or then if they're always going to meet up, there's always like, they call it the 3 C's, like of excuses. There's either someone in my family got cancer, there's a car accident. I can't remember what the third one is. Those are like cancer, the most typical excuses that people
super specific.
People give up that, like what happened, why they couldn't meet up. So it's always crazy. And lastly, I did talk about it a bit on Nintendo Shack this past week, but I want to mention again, Mega Man 11 demo.
Yes, I played this as well.
I fully had a chance to put it through its paces this past Sunday.
Did you use the gear system?
I don't, not as much as I really think it. I not as enough as I probably should. So when I was first playing,
it's hard to get used to it when you're like, I'm playing a Mega Man game, and then you're
exactly.
like, wait, I have extra powers.
Well, That's the thing, and I didn't even use just like I do when I always play Mega Man, I never use the boss powers until I get to a boss. I never use
Yeah.
the boss powers in a normal stage. I almost always just
That's
M-Buster through
the
the entire.
it's like I've talked about how you get like the best grenades and like the rocket launcher in some first person shooter and you never use them because you're like, I gotta save this till
Right,
the big baddie comes
I
out.
need all the energy
Then you
for it.
beat the game and you never used them.
So I did stream on twitch.tv/Fluxa. And
Whoa,
it's up
plug.
on our YouTube right now too, because I had previously had played the demo and I couldn't like I was just getting bodied trying to get through on normal. And I think I beat it on whatever the difficulty down below that is. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna beat this on normal difficulty. And I had I think the first run was disastrous. I think I died. I think I fell into a bunch of pits and I died like instantly. It was terrible, but I did get through it. I mean, I got all the way to the boss and then I failed. And then my next run, I think I didn't die at all. I had like a
Okay.
flawless run all the way to Brickman and took him down.
Prick man.
I like the little insults that he throws at you.
Yeah,
when shows up.
he was voiced very competently, I thought.
Yeah. And okay, because there's some internet squabbling about this. How do you feel about the Mega Man not freezing in the air when you do the boss stage scroll, when you open the boss doors? Because
I didn't even care.
That's it. Some people are like up in arms because if you jump in the air, Mega Man drops and then runs to the door, and he doesn't freeze in position while
I hope nobody's actually. I know what you're talking about now. I hope nobody is really up in arms about that because that was like a programming limitation. It just because it wasn't a stylistic choice, I'm sure.
You know, I had hoped to eventually pick up the Mega Man collection and the Mega Man X collection, but now like those can go right down the back burner because I want to pre-order this. I think I really want Mega Man 11. It just I thought the music was good. I've heard some people say they didn't care for it, but I thought the music for that stage was awesome.
I thought it was good, but it was a little generic sounding to me. Like it wasn't bad, but it was one step above, just kind of flowing over me and getting.
Did you play 9 and 10?
I played 9. I don't know if I played 10.
Yeah, I made it. I'm at the Wily stages in 9, and I have 10, but I never played it because I didn't finish 9, so I can't really comment too much on those. But I thought, I mean, yeah, Mega Man games should be hard, but I thought those were like kind of over the top hard, which kind of makes them not
the flower the flower mini boss was such a
yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Hated that thing. So I'm happy to see with Mega Man 11. I think it's fair so far. I like the art style. I like what they've done there. It feels good to go back to Mega Man like that
and have it be good, especially after Mighty Number 9 was so bad.
Well, I think
so. I hear.
I mean, KJ Inafune has clearly lost his touch. I mean, because I feel like this is a great. Whoever's developing this, I'm not too sure, has done a great job with the franchise. And let's face it, I don't think. Like Bobby mentioned this on Nintendo Shack, not Nintendo Shack, excuse me, on if we're on Nintendo, it's probably due to the fact that, you know, if it wasn't for Smash, we probably wouldn't even see like Smash Brothers has helped make Mega Man relevant again.
Yeah, you know? That's true. Because other than that, I mean, he wasn't really being used for anything besides because Capcom didn't even really make those other ones, right? They were just kind of allowed it. So. The 9 and 10.
I think so. Capcom and Konami are great at just letting their franchises stagnate and die and do nothing with them. So,
can I just say though, one thing that does bother me is I did like the voice acting and everything. I thought it was fine, but when Mega Man gets hit, I swear to God, it sounds like he's having an orgasm. He's just like, oh,
dude, the knockback on that, especially because you're on these tiny platforms and you get hit, and it almost always results in a death if you get hit when you're on some of those little jumping platforms.
I do find.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I only died twice. Once at a mistimed jump with those falling blocks, and then I don't remember what the other death was, but I did not beat the boss. I will admit that I didn't. I played up to that point. I was like, I fought him a little bit and died, and I was like, okay, I'm convinced that this will be.
I got stuck on that one jumping section with the conveyor belts a couple times, and there was
the worst part for sure.
When I was in the outside section, and you have to do some of those. They're not blind jumps because you can see where you're jumping to, but you know the stage is scrolling as you jump, and literally as I'm in midair, an enemy I don't see comes out of nowhere and hits you in midair, and then I just those type of things I find are cheap. That's like NES game design with those cheap deaths like that, which I don't appreciate it. But
Yeah.
I liked it. I think it was really. I'm glad that we got a demo for it because I mean now I went from being mostly interested in it into like, yes, I need to have this.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
especially I can't remember what is it? Is it $30 or is it
I think it's 30.
25?
I think it's 30.
So
29.99.
looking forward to that next month. So be right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
And
Oh,
really, I'm not playing any other games because I haven't touched Octopath since I've completed the chapter 2 stories, and at work lately I've been too busy to like justify getting the Switch out and getting into a game. So on my when I've been able to take a break, I've just been Netflixing really. So
man.
I'm
Maybe
thinking now that since we've got that Hulu subscription for free, I might jump into some Rick and Morty.
I'm glad you said that actually because I've been watching Rick and Morty. I didn't have it on my list, but it's only because I've been watching it in the last few days. Well, I've been rewatching it because when
Morty.
season 4 came out,
Hey Marty. That's
yeah, Rick. When it came out, when season 4 came out, I couldn't remember what the hell happened because I had watched it all kind of in a very short period of time, and then I didn't remember all that had happened, and it didn't really make any sense to me, which I know to some people they would probably say, well, that's not really that important, but that bugs me to just not remember. I hate doing that. So I started rewatching it because let's face it, it's good enough to rewatch anyways. I think that you will like it.
I watched a couple episodes with you.
Oh,
okay. When they go inside the bum. There's that.
Oh, yeah.
That's they shrink down and go inside his body, and then
that's like the second. Yeah. Yeah. We watched the second episode together when they go in that bum's body, and it's a theme park that they opened in there.
Have you seen the latest Simpsons couch gag with Rick and Morty?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I thought it was new, but it looks like there's been a couple. Because if you search Rick and Morty, Simpsons Rick and Morty, there's a hit that comes out on Adult Swim from 2016. There's one from 2015. There's one from 2017, and there's this most recent one that I watched.
I'm seeing one that has groundskeeper Willie. He was blowing around on a leaf blower. Okay, everything's normal. Oh.
Yeah, this is the one.
Oh God, look at the baby one. Oh my God, Morty. You killed the entire Simpsons, Morty. They're a beloved family, Morty.
I want to know how he does all the damn burping.
I'm just a kid. I don't want to go to jail. Relax, Morty. Calm down. We'll take care of it. Okay, I want you to take that vial of Simpsons goo and this picture to this address. They'll make us new Simpsons.
Oh wait, no, I have seen this one because they make like derp versions of them.
Place up before somebody comes snooping around. You know how many characters there are in the Simpsons, Morty? There's like a billion.
Okay, so I've seen that one and I thought it was new, but it's apparently not. They apparently had that from a long time ago. So,
it's kind of weird how well they fit into the Simpsons universe. Even though they're not yellow skinned, but
are you gonna go see the Rick truck is making its way up here to Michigan?
I don't even know what that is. I saw that
it's coming to Grand Rapids.
Article. What does it do?
Well, I saw a picture on Facebook. Our friend Russ went and saw it today. It's selling merchandise.
Oh,
it's promotional, but they have limited merch that you won't be able to get anywhere else that it's selling. I mean, it's just a promo, I think, for the upcoming season.
I see.
But
I don't have any money.
Yeah, I don't have any money either. I don't know if there's I don't like love anything like that much. Like
ever.
I'm not like.
Don't tell Jessica.
We don't know. Like there's people that that are collectors and have to have physical items and pre-order a bunch of stuff and have to import and things of that nature. But I'm not attached to anything like that. There's not like a property that I love that much.
If there was an enemy territory T-shirt, would you buy it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, that's because you don't like to have fun or joy. You're a Scrooge McDuck.
If there was an Enemy Territory 2 remastered edition, I would buy that.
T-shirt? You just don't like T-shirts.
Mouse pad.
Okay, limited edition
tank top, enemy territory, enemy territory tank, all in, bro.
Well, then you can show off your guns.
That's right.
What
Okay,
about
enough about me.
hold on? What about a limited edition Switch featuring your favorite Pokemons for only $400?
Fuck no. Dropping the F-bomb on that. Hell no. I don't even want a Smash Bros. Switch or anything like that.
Well, like I said, just get some stickers. Put some damn
I just
stickers on
don't.
there.
I'm sorry, I have no excitement over Pokemon whatsoever. But I know
couldn't-
there's a ton of people. Based on how many people just in my social media feeds that were going crazy about this, that those games are going to sell bananas. I mean,
Listen.
they're going crazy for our $400 limited edition Switch dock with decals and a Switch with some mild enhancements.
Some mustard yellow and khaki brown Joy-Cons.
We got those little silhouettes on the back, dude.
Don't care. I had to have a stranger, well, people I've never met before. They're not strangers, but they're people I've never met in real life. Send me a Switch out of pity because all I did was complain on my podcast about how I can't afford to buy anything. They're like, shut up. Take this Switch I found off this dead body. You really think I'm excited for a $400?
So you're saying that was the Dead Man Switch?
Oh, no, you didn't. That's the best joke of 2018. And probably only like 3 people got it. But I got it. And that's all that matters. That was on sale for like $2 not that long ago.
You can get like the entire, I think, Shadowrun collection for $15.
I like it. I like it a lot. Anyways, well, should I go? Should I go now?
Yeah.
Should I stay or should I go? All right. Well, Rick and Morty, good times. Good times were had by all. Speaking of other things, I guess I'll finish with the other thing that we watched. We finally finished The Staircase. I've been waiting to talk about this because I figured I might as well just watch wait until we've seen it all. Now, I know you've already talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to be spoilery with this because otherwise I couldn't really say anything about it. But since we've both seen it, this is your spoiler warning for The Staircase on Netflix. Skip ahead. Okay, it's spoiler time. It's spoiler time. After having watched all of it, I kind of not the roller coaster, but being like, okay, this guy seems kind of dirty. I could see him doing this. He just seems like a guy I don't trust. To like, for me, suddenly after seeing like the court trial and everything, and I'm just like, now I understand that we obviously see more than the jury does about him and his person and everything.
And we see one side of it too.
Yes. I was just like, wow. I was taken on a journey that I couldn't believe, much like Making a Murderer. Not quite as cut and dry feeling, I guess, but it's just as that show went on with him going to jail for 8 years and finding out later that, he was, I don't want to say set up, but there was incompetence in the blood splatter analysis portion of his trial and some of the stuff that was put in as evidence and everything. It's just like, damn, that's scary. It's scary to think that could happen to you. If
exactly.
You never know how you're going to react when something like that happens, and everybody always acts differently. It was like that one girl in Italy or whatever who they thought she wasn't acting sad enough, so they decided that she was Amanda Knox.
Yep. Amanda
wow,
Knox.
I cannot believe I remember that. Reminded me of that a little
there's
bit.
a couple stories on the series, the confession tapes that are similar. It's like, well, he just wasn't acting remorseful enough for someone whose girlfriend just died in front of, so.
Yeah. So we decided you're guilty. Crazy stuff. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a bit long. I feel like there's like 13 episodes or something because they added the newer stuff on, which was nice to get. I mean, it's one of those things where you'll never really know. Nobody knows except for him what really happened. But for what it was, it took me on a journey and I found it very interesting. Especially having been in a trial before and just knowing what the people well, on a jury, I should say. I was not on trial. Knowing how horrible that must have been to talk about, so, and
Yeah.
decide. So, yeah, Staircase, definitely recommended if you hadn't seen it. I just spoiled it for you if you haven't seen it, so enjoy that. I'll talk about what I played. One thing.
Okay.
Pretty much one thing, really. Plague of Shadows. I beat it. You know what? It was tough, and I know that it's not your favorite. It's not a lot of people's favorite. It's sorry. Yep. I was gonna say something just happened, and it's almost always on my end. So, but when I saw Jason put up his finger and say, "Just a second," I knew it was you.
Kicked my USB.
I was just saying it's usually on my end.
My thing that I dislike about it is I don't like how it's a Shovel Knight. I don't like how it does the whole Shovel Knight overworld again. You know?
Yeah.
And I think especially I think after playing Spectre of Torment and how more fresh that feels, Spectre of Torment makes me not enjoy Shovel Knight as much, I think.
Really?
That's fair to say. Yeah, because I enjoy Shovel Knight's mechanics and I enjoy Shovel Knight, but I just, man, the storytelling that they did in Spectre of Torment, and I know we're talking about Plague of Shadows right now, just like, for me, it was just like so far beyond Shovel Knight. But
well, and I've started Spectre of Torment. I've defeated enough bosses knights to get what's his name? Freeze? Gosh. One of the wanderers that you meet. He's the kid that wears the scarf, and he's always trying to fight evil, even though he gets you not in.
Yeah, I can't. It's been too long. I can't remember.
I don't remember. I want to say it's Freeze or Fries. I don't know. But anyways,
I mean, Plague of Shadows is interesting because playing as Plague Knight, his attack and his move sets are and his movement is
weird. Like
wild.
You have this, you're throwing your weapon in different ways. You can lob them. You can basically jump and throw them directly down. You can float them in a bubble. They have different ways you can explode them. So in that way, it kind of reminded me of Mega Man, the way that you're kind of switching out your different attacks types. And I liked it.
Some bosses or some enemies, he really exploits the heck out of.
Oh, hell yeah.
You can just hover in the air and just keep throwing bombs.
The boss fights were easy for me. I will say that. They were not an issue. What was an issue was getting through their damn levels. I died so much just trying to oops, I accidentally burst too far and went flying off a ledge, and he gets hit and gets knocked back like crazy. So I wore the armor that makes it so that it's harder to stop, but you don't get knocked back, which was nice. That helped with that. But there was definitely some frustrations where I almost didn't make it through because I was getting so sick and tired of falling off ledges and dying and trying to get the freaking coins, the cipher coins.
Yeah.
All that said, though, I did enjoy. There wasn't really a lot of a story, but what I did enjoy was his interactions with Mona.
It's a love story.
It was a love story. And so from that perspective, it was kind of cute. And he's, you got to love a good plague doctor mask. So, and the thing I can say is, while the story's not good or not like blow your mind or anything, the writing is funny enough and charming enough that it makes the interactions interesting. Now, Spectre of Torment, I can definitely see what you're saying, because here you have a story where you're learning about how he became a Spectre. It reminds me a little bit of Darth Vader, kind of, because he's sort of forced to do something at first that he doesn't really want to do necessarily. And so, like, only on a surface level, but especially with that, there was an exchange where the Enchantress comes in when that character I was just talking about, Freeze or Reese. That's what it is. Because I thought it was Reese, but then they made a word play with Rise, and so I wonder if it's pronounced Rise, but Rise. But there's a part where it seems like he knows who this kid is or something, but he doesn't say anything. He just goes ... And I was like, that reminds me of Darth Vader from the comic books a little bit, where he just like doesn't say anything, and you know that he's just through those 3 ... he's like feeling emotions, and it's tough for him. So it'll be interesting to see what the what the story there is, but the movement is very fun. I like the scythe skating and the and the way that you can jump up and midair attack things, and it kind of jumps you through.
Yeah,
and
he's
stuff
got
like
some
that.
really cool mechanics. I'm really interested just to get our hands on King Knight just because of that. Because I think, like, Plague of Shadows was definitely, let's see what we can do with this, and then Spectre Torment's like, okay, let's give us a new character, but let's give him a different game too. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like Plague of Shadows is very much still Shovel Knight. It's just got a few minor tweaks. I just like how fresh Spectre of Torment feels
yeah.
compared to everything else. So that's why I really enjoy that so much.
And I like the skull system too, because when you get your powers, you kind of have to like use them in a little mini level to understand them.
Yep.
And I really liked that because it lets you use them basically for
Yeah.
free and know what they do.
Yep.
So that was cool too. I really enjoyed that. So
Do you know that Shovel Knight's actually a fish man?
I do know. I know that now thanks to the statuette or whatever they made. It's not an amiibo.
Did you know he's not in Smash? He's only an assist trophy, so it doesn't really count. He should be playable.
Well, then he can join Waluigi and be an assist trophy forever.
Well, our podcast just getting blocked off the internet.
All the Nintendo lovers are like, I'm never listening to this again. Even though when Smash comes out, that's probably all either of us will be talking about and how we play against each other, and we'll giggle and.
Well, it doesn't matter. Tom Servo's going to kick both our butts. He said we're going to trade our games in. He's going to kick our butts so bad.
I'll kick your butt so bad you're going to trade your games in. I will. This will be the first time I own the game, so I might actually be able to get, as the kids say, get good.
Your connection's going to get interrupted. I'm going to hit you so hard.
Oh, you're going to roundhouse kick me off the internet. Well,
right.
off the Switch, Nintendo Net. What are they calling it?
The Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, that.
Which we still don't know have any details about, but it's supposed to start up in like 2 weeks.
Good plan.
GG no reading
there. I want to talk about reading things for a second because it's been a while since we've talked about reading.
Stop this podcast. I'm done.
Man, this thing's just getting worse and worse.
Sorry.
Don't worry. There's lots of pictures because it's graphic novels. I went to the library and I got some the library, and I got some reading materials. And two of the things that I picked up because I was like, I'm reading a couple of Shadowrun novel. Well, I'm reading a Shadowrun novel, and then I got a few more to finish or to start and finish on the docket. So I don't really need a book. But then I thought, oh yes, they have graphic novels and comic books. So I went and looked through there, and I was like, you know what?
They have a good selection at your library too.
Yes, they do.
Library.
It's everyone's library. So I picked up just things that I happen to see. I didn't really have an idea of what to. Yes, they have lots of manga there as well. Kind of a scary amount.
Manga porn.
Everybody knows all you have to do is search the internet for that. I don't need to go to the library. So I picked up two things that I finished. Well, one I finished, and then the other one I'm still working on, but I can confidently talk about. First of all is Dead Space, the comic, because I remember this being. I think it came out before the game did, but only shortly before. And it's basically the marker getting found, the pre-story to before the Ishimura picks it up, and what happens.
So is that similar to like the? Oh no! So that even predates what happens with the animated film as well. Then,
I believe so, because the animated film was the first days of after they picked it up, the Ishimura, right? On the ship.
That's like what happens to the crew.
Yes, this is what happened to the colony that was on the planet.
Okay.
When they found this. Now the art style, I didn't really care for most of the time. A lot of the characters look very similar, so it's very hard to keep them apart. And it's very scribbly, which normally I don't mind, but here it's very simplistic. I feel like to a certain degree I could have drawn a lot of this. They're very I don't know. They're not bad. They're just not okay. I'll use Sentinels of the Multiverse as an example. do you remember how some of those cards, they look okay, but they're not exactly like comic book material?
Oh yeah, I mean they're comic book style, but sometimes some of them look a little bit
Like flash art or something.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of same thing here. Not quite on the same level. But I will tell you one thing. It did make me want to go back and play Dead Space. So it wasn't so bad that
So it's
I
doing
thought it
something
was
right
worthless.
then.
Yeah, I would say it got the feeling down, and it talked a lot about what I think the first game only touches on, which is the I can't remember what they're called, but that other religion that pops up around the markers and what they mean and everything. There's like this whole religion. I can't. They call them marker heads, but I can't remember what the actual name is of the religion. But basically,
Yeah.
that these markers mean something important and it's going to lead them to the promised land or whatever. So yeah, I thought it was definitely worth you, for instance, you checking out at the library. It's only 6 issues and it's all collected in a
Okay.
hardcover um, uh, issue volume, whatever you want to call it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I read it pretty quickly, so it wasn't terrible. It wasn't a waste of time.
You sharing that on Discord, it had inspired me to do my own graphic novel journey, but I'll touch on that next week.
Ooh, can't wait. And then the other graphic novel I've been reading is Axe Cop. Now
Yes.
I've read some of this as a web series. And so I didn't even know it was coming to the graphic novel scene, so to speak. And it's interesting because it's some of the regular issues, but then it also has a lot of the artist's notes as to how, like, there's an Ask Axe Cop section where they do like kind of shorter one-offs. And each one has a story behind how it was made with his younger brother. And these are just like distilled 5-year-old imagination on the paper. You know what I mean? It charms me to my core to see such just like optimistic, ridiculous storytelling. Like the kid does not care that every time he goes up against a bad guy, he uses like poison, for instance, and the poison oil, the bad guy never questions why. Just here, have this flower, and then the flower sprays poison in your eyes, and your eyes explode, and it's just like it's such something that a 5-year-old would come up with, and I love it, and it makes me giggle because it's so unexpected. It makes me laugh. I love it. So I actually picked up 2 volumes of that because they had both of them. So
okay.
I'm working my way through this one, and then I'll move on to the second one. Then I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to work on, and Old Man Logan, which, as I had said in Discord, I found out I picked up volume 3, and apparently there's like volume 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I wanted to read the whole.
Something from Old Man Logan. I don't remember what it was.
Well, I'm guessing volume 0 is because it's subtitled War Zones. So I'm guessing it's a prequel that they made after making the first 3 volumes or something. But I figured, well, I might as well just start there. So I got the holds on those so that they'll come in and I can just read the whole thing in one shot. And yeah, it feels kind of good to get back into comic books to a certain degree.
Doesn't it? I kind of felt that way too a little bit. It was like I've been away from it for a long time. Like I don't think I could get back into single issues. Again, because it's too it's too much there.
When you're having to pick them up every like week or month or whatever it was, and you know.
And then what do you do with them? Like I still have some of my Star Wars single issues I never even read.
Right.
And they're just sitting on a shelf. And what do I do with them? I don't want to get long boxes, and it's just. And then digital, I don't know. Digital is not. I think that's the better way to go, but you got to have the right device, I think.
I just don't like doing singles though. Even if it was digital, I still don't want to do single issues. I'd
Yeah.
rather just get because it's more expensive that way, isn't it? If you're paying like basically $5 per issue, that makes us, you know.
I'm sure it is. I mean, you do get your pull discounts, but
That's
people
true.
want that. People want that. Some people want all the singles, you know. But yeah, I think it might be a little bit better to do the trades. I mean, I'd rather have like all the story in one and I can just go through it. Yeah, that's nice. Especially I can just get it from the library for free.
Well, and when you're doing multiple issues like the Star Wars thing where it was like, oh, we're doing Princess Leia and Darth Vader and Star Wars are going to come together, and now it's just a continuation of that, and then every month you're picking up like 10 comic books. It gets to be a lot, you know. So I can't even imagine what it would be like to follow Deadpool and Superman and Batman and, you know, and then have all of those coming out, and then the spin-offs of those series and the one-offs and all that other crap. So
yeah,
it's too much work.
Yep.
I avoid work at all costs.
I hear you there.
But that was what I was doing.
Good, man. I think that's a good list. That's a good list.
It's a different list.
Different list. Yeah, we're mixing things up. We don't have any there's no community grab bag content for the night.
That means I press this button. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know if you could hear it or not.
I was either waiting for that or the Price is Right failure music. So I wasn't sure. Yes, that is gonna wrap up this episode for this week. So that means we gotta say, hey, thank you to all our awesome patrons out there, but a very special thanks to our Arbiters of Awesomeness, Kevin Austin, Kyle Heyman, Edwin Callow, Tyler Rowland, Tom Servo, and our Executors of Excellence, Josh Barbone, Dan Anthony, Siri Renee. If you're interested in joining this legion of amazing, awesome people, please check out patreon.com/Fluxtaposed. And then, hey, if you want to join up with us on the internet on even more, smash us into our lives, into your lives, even more than we already are, check out fluxtaposed.com/Discord. Get your little invite to the hottest Discord server this side of the Kessel Run.
Whoa.
So, that's all I got to say on that. So, hey, we're going to get out of here. Next week, we're going to have Donnie Reese on the show as a guest. So look out for that.
Are we talking about anything interesting with him, or is he just coming on?
We'll figure something out. I'm sure we will.
Just say Nintendo and he'll go on for like an hour.
Yeah, we'll talk about Nintendo. So, above all, just come back for more Fluxtaposed. We'll save a seat for you. You'll pull up a chair. We'll do that whole thing all over again.
Quadratic cubes.
You'll stay a while and listen. It'll be great. I promise. So do it. See you then. Goodbye.
Go
Goodbye.